Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, after a large-scale manhunt, police have finally caught their elusive suspect, wanted over an alleged double stabbing near Launceston. 44-year-old Kerry Whiting was captured in a late-night raid at a Waverley property after almost a week on the run.
It was only 8 hours after police stumped up a $50,000 reward for information that the manhunt for Kerry Whiting came to an end.
The man went into custody without incident after a police check was conducted.
Almost a week of extensive land and air searches and numerous tip-offs culminating at a Waverley address around midnight last night. Neighbours shocked.
Scary.
A bit close out.
Yeah.
Very close out.
Detectives were today on the scene, scouring a house top to bottom, bagging evidence and hunting for clues. But no word yet on whether the knife used in the crime has been found.
At this stage, I can't reveal whether that weapon has or hasn't been located.
One man at the property claimed to have no knowledge about the fugitive. We just want to know why Kerry was here, that's all.
I don't know why he was here. I didn't even know he was here.
The 44-year-old was a key suspect in the alleged double stabbing in Ravenswood last week that was witnessed by 2 teenagers. The attack left one man dead and a woman in a critical condition. She was released from the Launceston General Hospital this afternoon.
Which is great news because she can be reunited with her family and they can begin this healing process together.
Police refused to reveal if the reward money fueled new leads or if it will be claimed. They believe doing so would defeat the purpose of Crime Stoppers, which is built around strict confidentiality.
I want people to know that if they provide information to Crime Stoppers, their identity and the fact that they have even provided information will remain anonymous.
The suspect is yet to be interviewed by authorities. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government has announced it will develop a 10-year strategy to transform the state's youth justice system. But with a closing date for the Ashley Youth Detention Centre looming, there are calls for a clear plan to be outlined sooner rather than later.
A sudden announcement from the Premier 3 months ago. The Ashley Youth Detention Centre set to close its doors.
Enough is enough. We're going to change to a new model and we're going to do so within the next 3 years.
The Children's Minister today announcing a roadmap for reforming Tasmania's youth justice system.
This is around the whole community working together. So this blueprint is mapping out the pathway forward.
Set to cover the next 10 years.
We're also going to be seeking the views of young people. We want to hear from them, their experiences within our service system and what we can do to make sure that we are responding to the needs of those young people.
Ashley will be decommissioned in 2024, but still not clear what the transition to a new model of care will look like.
We're looking at potentially September 2024 for Ashley to be closed. That's not a roadmap, that's just delaying the inevitable and keeping kids at risk.
It's taken her 3 months to come up with this 15-page document that just tells us she's going to, think about what happens next. It's not even a plan at all in terms of any real action.
The Children's Commissioner says today's report is a good start and we should now look to international jurisdictions for inspiration.
Jurisdictions who are trialling different models for custodial youth facilities which are focused on home environments and appropriate care and the learning of very important life skills.
Hoping to change the future for children in the state for the better.
We have a really once-in-a-lifetime opportunity here to change the trajectory of life for very vulnerable Tasmanian children and young people, and we should make sure we get that right.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, Tasmania's transition away from using a Northern Territory program for troubled youth is now complete. But the Children's Minister says 2 participants remain in the Territory with the support of their families.
Both young people remaining in care in the Northern Territory continue to receive support and care that is oversighted by their individual care teams.
The state government expects to have new programs operating in Tasmania by the end of next year. Tasmania's public trustee misunderstood its duties as an administrator for 26 years, according to a damning new report. The inquiry by Damien Bugg QC also noted an uncomfortably high level of dissatisfaction with the way trustees communicated with clients. The report contains 28 recommendations. The Attorney-General says she will now take time to consider them. The Tasmanian Jack Jumpers and Metro Tasmania have joined forces to offer free public transport to home games this season. The partnership announcement comes just 24 hours out from the local outfit's inaugural NBL match.
Rolling up in style, the Jack Jumpers squad prepare to officially become the NBL's 10th team.
10 years from now, we can look back on it and be something that, hey, we created that, something we're going to be proud of.
On the eve of their inaugural match against the Brisbane Bullets, Metro Tasmania has become the club's home jersey partner.
It's a great partnership to encourage more people to use public transport to access the games, predominantly in Hobart, but also for the games in Launceston.
But to have that added dimension of being able to use public transport and a free service to the public as well, which I think is really important.
Ahead of tip-off, each squad member has been presented with a monumental blazer today, a tradition which will continue for seasons to come.
Memberships have now peaked at 4,100, so we couldn't be happier with the community response, and now it's over to Scott and the players to actually put on a performance tomorrow night.
Captain Clint Steindl is hopeful he'll be in the starting lineup, despite dislocating his finger last week.
We'll have another shoot around tomorrow and reevaluate him and see how he goes. But I think for the most part he was pretty good.
For the most part, just catch and shoot for me and just keep it out of the way.
But NBA next star Nikita Mikhailovsky will sit out the opener with foot soreness. Thousands of spectators will fill out the stands here at the MyState Bank Arena tomorrow night in what is a sold-out season opener match for the Jack Jumpers.
This is like building a house, and we're trying to put in the foundation first and building blocks.
All while vying for their very first win on the board. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmanian News.
A man who pleaded guilty to abducting and assaulting a 5-year-old girl in January at Montague campgrounds has been sentenced to 6 years in prison. In handing down his sentence, Justice Robert Pearce said Cecil Morris Mabb's guilty plea was a strong indication of remorse. However, the injuries the 42-year-old inflicted were serious, and the victim's father says she still suffers nightmares and long-lasting psychological effects from the incident. Mabb will be eligible for parole in November 2025. A crowdfunding page posted by the Sue Neil-Fraser support group has been shut down by GoFundMe. The fundraiser was launched after the 67-year-old's appeal against her murder conviction was dismissed earlier this week. The company says it removed the GoFundMe page for violating its terms of service. The almost $2,800 raised will be refunded. Australia Post has warned any parcels coming to Tasmania should be shipped by December 13 to make sure they arrive by Christmas. But businesses here say there's a very easy way to avoid disappointment: by shopping local instead.
With the festive season in full swing, the shopping frenzy has begun.
I've started slightly. Yeah, I very much delay it.
I'm getting something for my dad.
Yep.
A gift voucher.
Elf on the Shelf. I would want to show you in case they're watching.
When buying online, there's always nerves about whether parcels will arrive in time. And for those yet to order, a warning's been delivered.
Look, it's really important for people to do their online shopping as early as they can for Christmas.
Australia Post say packages coming to Tasmania will need to be sent by December 13.
But retailers still need to get their orders to Australia Post, so you should really do your shopping by December 11.
In light of that, retailers are hoping Tasmanians shun online shopping in favour of coming back to the city and spending their money locally.
It comes down to how we want our local business scene to look. Without our support at these peak times, we won't see these businesses in the future.
We're about 3 weeks into the Christmas rush now. We've had the wrapping paper out for a while for the Christmas gifts.
At Petrarch's bookshop, they have to put on extra staff to keep up with the rush.
It gets to the point where you actually are about 3 people deep from the counter.
With 23 sleeps until Santa comes, things are set to get a lot busier. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Hobart's City Mission is calling for cash donations from the public to help Tasmanians in need this Christmas. The annual voucher program is open once again to ensure locals don't go without this festive season. Demand for emergency relief in the lead up to the holidays has increased significantly. The impacts of the pandemic and skyrocketing rental prices to blame.
This year, 730 odd families have asked for support, which represents over 1,200 children.
Things happen to good people. There's no stereotypical poor person anymore. A lot of people are doing it rough.
Food packs and toys have already come in abundance from schools and businesses. The City Mission is thanking locals in advance for their contribution to the community. A volunteer organisation helping people with disabilities is putting the call out for extra assistance. Riding for the Disabled is hoping for extra horses to be donated to its organisation to continue its valuable work.
11-year-old Ariel Lacey relies on her weekly rides for therapy, her progress gathering pace since she began the program.
It's socialisation, it's language skills, it's motor planning, executive functioning, so all those things that she struggles with, all rolled into fun.
RDA Tasmania helps people of all ages living with a disability or special needs, but it's in need of another 4 horses to keep up with demand, with applicants waiting up to 3 years to access a session.
Ideally, we'd like to have them ready to start in the program next year so we can clear our waiting list and we can give more riders a spot in our program.
RDA Tasmania doesn't just need extra horses, they're putting the call out for extra volunteer coaches to help run the program.
I just really enjoy being around horses. I love getting to know them. They all have their own personality.
I just really like volunteering and I love horses, so yeah. And all the people are really nice as well.
The organisation is hoping for donations from the community to ensure more people can receive the assistance they need. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians will now have access to sustainable transport through the launch of a new electric vehicle subscription service. It's aiming to capitalise on Tassie's renewable energy advantage with a number of vehicle charging stations already positioned from Hobart to Launceston.
So our target market is for Tasmanians looking to enter into the electric vehicle market without the upfront cost of an EV and without the risk of owning an EV.
An electric vehicle is one way that a Tasmanian business or home can start doing their bit and making their contribution.
Both Aurora Energy and Carbar are hopeful locals will take up the incentive at a record rate as they push towards a carbon neutral economy.
A full summer of racing is set to go ahead, with Tas Racing prepared to move major meets at short notice if regional lockdowns return. 22 race days will take place this season, although a cloud still hangs over one of the state's leading trainers. COVID crippled many sports, but racing proved to be more immune to the pandemic pinch.
It was surprising. We had, there's a lot of restrictions, but catering and attendance-wise was through the roof, and turnover's been through the roof too.
Launching the summer of racing, Ladbrokes has extended its sponsorship deal by 4 years, and a $100,000 carrot is dangling again for any horse which can win both the Hobart and Launceston Cups.
The industry's recovering well.
And if regional restrictions return, there's room to move.
Move the event here to Mowbray, which is a tri-code facility, a harness event. We could move it to Carrick or we can move it to Devonport.
The launch comes against a backdrop of trainer Scott Brunton fighting a 3-month ban for his 5th arsenic charge and an RSPCA probe into greyhound racing, the industry backing the process.
It's a process that's in place.
There is a process underway.
There's a process that's being undertaken at the moment.
While on the track, Barry Campbell cheered his mare DeRoche to a boil-over in last night's $100,000 Newmarket handicap at Mowbray.
DeRoche still in front and DeRoche is going to win it. DeRoche leads all the way to win the Newmarket handicap.
While Glenn Stevenson's Turk Warrior kept his unbeaten streak intact, holding off Alpine Wolf in the 3-year-old Cup. And it might as well be the local version of Come On Aussie Come On. Tassie brand Luca Brasi has released a theme song for the Jack Jumpers ahead of Game 1 tomorrow night. Jackies are on the march.
Jackies are on the march. Never keep us down. Jackies are on the march. The fastest team around.
The band says it's a dream to have a basketball team back in the state.
Good evening. Hobart 23 degrees today. Launceston the state's high with 29. Burnie and Devonport also into the 20s. Bushy Park, Cressy and Grove also on the top of 29. Flinders Island 28. Friendly Beaches 27. Smithton and Lyawini 23. Low Head and St Helens 21. King Island and Strawn 19. High cloud did pass over Tasmania today, while lower convective cloud increased during the afternoon from the west. A cloud band from our south stretches back to WA, linked to a trough. A frontal band passes south of Western Australia, active convection over the east and far north of the nation. Tomorrow the cold front sits to our east, a high pressure ridge nudges in from a centre to the west. The winds west-southwesterly 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over the west and south, swells picking up to 4.5 metres. Strong wind warning for waters between Wineglass Bay and Sandy Cape, and a strong wind warning from Stanley up to the northern reaches of Flinders Island. Now for tomorrow, Hobart expecting 20, partly cloudy for Huonville, 20 the top and 21 the high for Campania. Launceston 23 degrees and partly cloudy, 19 for Devonport and sunny, okay for Georgetown and 21 degrees. Burnie 20 and mostly sunny, a shower moving in for Strawn, 17 the top and 21 for Wynyard. And for St Helens, an afternoon shower. 18 degrees, same for Swansea, Port Arthur a late shower and 18 as well. UV mostly at 9, but at 10 over Burnie and very high. On Saturday, fine and partly cloudy apart from showers over the west and south. The chance of snow to 700 metres as the temperatures drop. On to Sunday, fine with light winds and afternoon sea breezes. And Monday, fine and partly cloudy, a possible shower over the west. Bit topsy-turvy over the next 3 days. A sunny 32 in Perth tomorrow, partly cloudy in Adelaide and Melbourne. Possible storm for Canberra, cloudy in Sydney and Brisbane, 35 and a wet season storm for Darwin. And the trough is doing its work. A few showers in Hobart at the moment, raining in Launceston, Devonport, currently 17 degrees. Cam.
Thanks, Merv. That is all we have time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Good night.